Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of Girl, Why You Still Single? It's your favorite podcast host, Dion Chalette, and it's a brand new week, and I am so ready to get into this brand new episode entitled, Don't Say It If You Don't Mean It. Now, for this episode, I had to reflect back to one of my past relationships. And I realized that my ex taught me that not every I love you and not every I miss you is necessarily authentic and real. And oftentimes I feel as though he would only say it to get something out of me or to make me forgive him, or just to try to stay relevant in my life. And not until my breaking point, which was when those actions stopped following the words that came out of his mouth. And I had to remember that just because he says it doesn't necessarily mean that he meant it. Love is a powerful word, and when you use it freely, can confuse you. And a lot of times it can lead you into a lot of unwanted situations. Now, I can remember a particular time after I had broke it off with my ex, I would often allow him to enter back into my space, not through what he necessarily did, but just trusting and having faith in his words that he spoke. I would normally get, text messages or phone calls saying how much he missed me and, oh, I love you. But never did he ever attempt to show me how much he loved and how much he missed me. So I would allow those words to fill my space, to keep me content, to keep him hanging on, or not keep him hanging on, but to keep me hanging on to a dead-end relationship. And not until those same I love yous and I miss yous stopped coming did I realize that, girl, he don't mean none of that. Now, I'm not going to lie. I'm even guilty of doing this same thing. Telling someone how much I love them just because. Now, throughout my dating season, I found myself forcing relationships that had no type of substance, had no type of foundation. A lot of back and forth, but mostly because I didn't want to be alone. So what would I do? I committed to situations and I said things that I didn't necessarily mean to get a reaction, thinking that, somehow, the relationship would grow, or somehow magically my feelings would change for this person. So everything that I was condemning my ex for, I turned around and did the same thing to somebody else. Now, y'all, what does that sound like? Fraudulent activity. Yes. But God has mysterious ways in showing me there's always power in your tongue. And I got myself wrapped up into some crazy situations. I really didn't understand Proverbs 18:21 until I was kicking someone out of my house. Y'all, I had done talked myself into a whole move-in relationship. Not only did I allow this man to move in, but I led him on believing that we had a future together. And God got me right together. After much prayer, repentance, and deliverance, I had to take a look in the mirror at that very moment. And I said to myself, hurt people. And I was forced to end that situation. So to make a long story short, the guy ended up moving out. But soon after, I was forced to face my wrongdoing in this relationship. Just because I had kicked him out, God had me revisit what I had just went through. And that ended with an apology to that same man who I had hurt. Now, as I stated before, realizing hurt people, I often go back to that very same moment to reflect on how much I have grown and just to be more intentional about what comes out of my mouth. So this week, I want you all to read Proverbs 18:21, which states, "Death and life are in the power of tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof." This week's homework question is, what do you say daily, weekly, monthly that you don't necessarily mean? How can you be more intentional about what you speak, not only into your relationships, but what do you speak into your personal life, as far as your work life, as far as you setting your goals and your dreams? How can you manifest the things you desire in your life? Think about it. Well, this concludes this week's episode of Girl, Why You Still Single? And let's remember to be intentional about living in our singleness.